Okay.
You were saying that when you became a mother, the things that were hard for you was picking up the phone and not having your mom available.
Right, absolutely. So that it's really hard to like want to reach out to her when you're becoming that mom yourself and really depending on just the connection and the relationship that you have. And it was very short-lived before she passed away unexpectedly. And so that was really, it was just a really hard season. And that tipped me over the edge for sure. Absolutely. I used it as an emotional crutch. And when we stop using our other tools and we start utilizing and filling it with alcohol, it's quicker, it's more effective in that moment. And then we go to the wayside, our friendships and other things that were important to us and moving our body. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, it's amazing, and she's so proud of you now. What an incredible thing that she can hold you can hold on to now is that she knows where you're at, what you're doing, and all the clarity that you have. I know you said that you started your career path in recovery. You're working with correctionals. Is that in recovery, or is like working in, it's a jail system, right? Like you're working with the jail system. Is it women, men?
I've worked for all of it. The majority of it were in the prisons. So I worked male, female, minimum, maximum, medium, all of it.
When you're dealing with them or working with them, is it just for like mental therapy, or it's recovery related?
Both, but the majority of it was doing startups and participating in doing like sessions and psychoeducational groups with the offenders and the treatment programs. And then like they would live in like these units, or else I would just take them off of mainline and meet with them individually or have a big class, in a common area, and they would go to a recovery meeting or a relapse prevention class or a co-occurring class. We just try to keep them is busy and occupied. It's like I always say, when you have a head full of sobriety, drinking or using is never the same. So, what better way to rehabilitate people and give them some tools, because they're coming out usually regardless. The majority of them do end up coming out. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Do you ever feel like when you're helping people on the inside versus helping people on the outside, does it ever bother you to see them like, you're dealing with the same things, but they haven't been arrested for it, but you're dealing with the same problem? Does it ever affect you, or are you ever frustrated with people on the outside that just haven't gotten caught yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Yeah, I was one of them. It's,
Right.
I think, they've all done it. They just haven't been caught yet, and that's just how it is. And, there's no rhyme or reason, but it's like, if you continue to keep doing it, eventually it's all going to come to an end one way or another, whether it's child protective services or death or, some type of medical, condition that's life threatening. It's just all of it leads to really bad places. So, yeah, it's hard, but like we said, we're stubborn too. We were just like, we weren't ready because we didn't want to give it up, and we just protected, defended it. And it's like, me and you have no dog in the fight. Like, people can use and drink and do whatever they want, especially the things that are legalized. But it's like, for us to be like, God, man, I'm telling you, there's a different way. It's just a different way than like, our generation of scared straight, and here's the egg with the frying pan. Don't do drugs because this is your brain on drugs. And scared straight doesn't always work. And it's like, there are stories, and we might seem like, I remember going into the rooms and I'm like, I am so far away from this being my life. It scared me, right? And I'm like, look for the similarities, not the differences, because if you continue to keep doing this, little snooty pants, you are going to be right there with them. And absolutely, I was exceeded a lot of them. I mean, I was bad. And, so for us to be able to say, hey, you do you, but, we're here to tell you from a prevention standpoint that if when you're ready to throw the towel in, or this is like seriously what I just love for people to do is like just literally set yourself up to keep a promise to yourself, and maybe even like a challenge. So just say, what, I'm going to do dry July. That's, a thing. Dry January. I'm going to say 14 days, I'm going to give my body a rest. And you will notice that people are unable to keep that promise to themselves. And that's how you start to explore your relationship with alcohol, and that it could be problematic because you're like, wow, this was a lot harder than I expected. I I said I'm not going to drink, but I can't stop from doing it. This is scary, right? That's information and evidence to support that I need to get more curious about how come I can't test drive sobriety and do it and follow through. That's concerning to me. So, we can sit up here and talk all day long, but until they see that for themselves, you know?
So true, but I love what you just said. Test drive sobriety. Like, what a
Yeah.
great challenge to people. Test it out. Like, what do you got to lose? 14 days, see what happens, see what you learn about yourself. And I remember when I got 14 days sober, I could not imagine a month. I was like, how am I going to do 30 days? And then when I got 30 days, I was like, how am I going to do 60 days? And then when I got 60 days, it was like, how am I going to do 6 months? And even getting to my year, it was like administrative day at my work, and so they literally like let us stop and they sent us to the day spa for the day, and they were like, all drinks included, everything included, massages, this. And I was like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm like, drinks included, massages by the pool day, like this is insane. So I'm like obsessing. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like I haven't told anybody at work, I'm anonymous at work, like nobody knows anything, I just don't go to the happy hours with them. I live like 40 minutes away, so they always just assume that, I'm commuting. And so I've gotten away with it, but I'm not gonna get away with this. And I call my sponsor, and she's like, do whatever you want. If you want to, tell them you don't drink. If you want to say nothing, if you want to don't do anything, walk away, like do whatever you want. Like you're in control of this. And so the waiter was taking the orders, and he goes up to there, and they're like, oh, we'll take a mimosa, da, da, da. And the next one, we'll take a Bloody Mary, da, da, da. And he comes to me, and I'm like, I don't drink. Can I get a seltzer water? And he was like, okay. And I'm like, waiting, and like nobody cared, not a single person. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I've been sweating for 2 hours, and no one, to this day, it's been months, and nobody has said anything to me. Nobody said, why aren't you drinking, or what's going on? And part of that is the sober movement. I love it because that whole sober curious thing is getting away from that stigma that it's okay, that I want to be present, I want to go on a healthy vacation. There's actually right now, I'm working with these groups, and they're building vacations for their corporations without alcohol, because what happens is they say, okay, we're going to have a convention with 200 people, and we're going to have breakout sessions, and we're going to teach you this, and we're going to bring this speaker, and we're going to bring this speaker in, and they all get crap faced. Mm-hmm. And because they're at the bars all night, or it's open bar, and then they're paying their employees to get drunk and go to their seminars. And so finally, we're getting away from that. And these companies are saying, we're doing a no alcohol meditation wellness convention. And these people are, I love it better. It was all this like, well, it's not going to be any fun because we're not going to be able to, go and drink, but it's becoming the norm. And I love that. I love it so much. Well, I have like taken up so much of your time. I feel like you always inspire me with everything you do. Again, I follow you on your podcast and everything. How do you feel like when you first got sober? What was your initial goal? Like you said, was it 14 when you first got sober, and you're looking back, because we always think of like this the new me, right? The new little sober me. And I look at myself, and just even when I was 100 days, I'm different now than I am just from 100 days. Like sobriety just like rockets you into life, it's like all of a sudden, mm-hmm. It's like you've been in a different century, and all of a sudden you're there because you've lost all this time. When you first got sober, what was your outlook on sobriety and recovery versus 5 years, and your outlook on sobriety and how you see yourself in another 5 years?
I think looking at it, I was so terrified about labels, and I was so terrified about the idea of forever, because I had so many failed attempts. I mean, I couldn't crack the code. I just couldn't get consecutive days added up. So 14 days was like, it took me like 5 years to get that. It was bananas. And so it was just like, literally, I can't think about forever because that's a really long time. And that means I can't ever drink again. And I'd rather die. I mean, it's like social suicide. Like I couldn't, that's how sick and that's how much it controlled my life. And so it was literally one day at a time. And it was like, I would have to go to bed at like 6 o'clock some nights and say, I have to like go to bed and like tuck myself in and wash my face and pretend like it's nighttime because I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't. And so, at that time I was hiding. So it wasn't me being able to, do anything but hit meetings, anything in regards to the social media and the community we have here. But, it was like literally one day at a time. But those little victories, and I would keep money that I would save from drinking and really treat myself with sober treats. And they were either new walking shoes or, money to put into a vacation fund or a Starbucks or a bouquet of flowers at Trader Joe's. Like that kept me going. And I'd go to it like the next milestone and it got a little bit, a couple days. And then I was like, oh, 14 and then 30, we kind of do that. And then we get excited for like the 45s. And then we kind of go up with our chips. And, now where I'm at is I can't imagine ever not being sober, which is the complete opposite of what I said doing it. It's like I am living a life that I love, sober Michelle. Sure, I miss things about being, rebellious and not feeling so responsible and all of those things, but they don't outweigh me being present and accountable and being a great role model to my kids and normalizing sobriety and really the prevention work. In another 5 years, I hope to have created a movement for women and children and know that there is so much more than utilizing alcohol as a coping tool to numb out the hard parts of life. And so I don't ever want to go back. There's moments that I'm like, it's been so long. Maybe I can do this full moderation. No, I can't. And I know that first drink will get me drunk and I will probably never come back from that. I really believe that. And so I don't want to find out. I really don't. It's taken me a long time to like myself, to learn to respect, and now I do really love myself. And that took me almost a decade to be able to say that. And so I'm here to stay. And I hope to continue to empower people that I am not anti-drinking by any means, but I am absolutely pro-sobriety.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I mean, we always say, hats off to you, if you can you can drink. And I've seen it. I mean, I have friends who like don't even finish their beer. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Right.
like finish it already. But yeah, I agree. I think what is exciting too is that we have that possibility, and there are so many women rising to the occasion and becoming vocal about this, making it, we're linking arms and saying like, we are in this together. We are doing a movement. This isn't oh, I'm just trying to get this many followers. It's no, how many people can we reach and touch? And if we can have that one person, and there's been times where I'm like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this whole podcasting thing. And I'll get some random email and it's like, you know what, I heard episode whatever, and I didn't drink tonight. And I just want to say thank you for that. And I'm like, really? Like, so you just don't know. And you also just don't realize all the freedom that sobriety brings. So much freedom and just peace. And the word serenity, I had a hard time with for a long time, and I still feel like I have a long way to go, but really it's just a form of peace and a form of no chaos. And I just think you're amazing. I know that you are, you're coming out with entrepreneur books, and you're doing other books, and you're just doing it, and you're reaching people. And you're also, the one thing that I commend you is that there are people in recovery that need that pick me up. They need that, okay, I've been sober for a year, I've been sober for 5 years, I've been sober for 10 years. And someone like you you see that future, that hope. And so I hope you continue to do what you're doing, because it's amazing. And with that, I don't know if do you have any questions for me?
I think you need to continue to do you and be you, because that's what keeps us going, is those messages that we get. It's purpose over popularity. Always remember that. That has been something I don't feel like I'm cut out for this. It's imposter syndrome. I was a drunk that sat in my closet, literally chugging bottles of wine, like until I blacked out. I don't belong on stages. Like I would tell myself that. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I just know that I freaking love being sober, and I want to empower other women to never give up on themselves, because our addiction wants us to. And here we are, and so you keep doing that, because there's nobody else like you. There's nobody else like me. And we're going to be some people's cup of tea and other people we're not. And that's great that there is so much collaboration over competition, because there is enough sobriety and recovery for everyone. And that's what's so cool, is that we can't keep this secret from anybody. Like sobriety is, I think, society's best kept secret. I really do. And I thank you for creating this, whether it's in a closet, a laundry room, a house, on the road, a car. It doesn't, you have a message, and people don't care about how you get that message out into the world. And that's how it starts. So people are going to see your heart and your commitment to being of service and your own sobriety, and just continue to just be you, girly. I'm really happy and honored to be here and to see you just continue to blossom.
Thank you so much. And yes, it's been a really promising road. If I can say that to anyone, is that I never would have imagined, like you, that I would have not drank. It was a part of who I was. It was why I got invited to parties. It was like, well, invite Crystal because she's super fun. And then I went to a party sober, and I realized I was really the only one that was drinking the whole time, because these guys didn't even finish 2 drinks. So I'm like, was this how these parties always were?
Yeah.
These are boring. No wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I always say, and I always close out every podcast, if I can do it, we can do it. Because I know, like you said, imposter syndrome. I mean, we are human beings, and we have that angel and that devil on that side, and and one will always try to tip the other one off. And we really have to try and just stick together and get through this and relate to people that it is okay, and there is hope, and there is a future. And it's okay if you come here and you don't know who you are, what you are, why you're even here, or maybe someone just even gave you an episode, and you're like, why, like, we want you to know, like, you are not judged, and that we are in it every single day with you, that you are not alone. And I strongly believe that, because I can tell you right now, it gives me goosebumps, because I was in my shower on my knees, and I thought I was the only human being in the entire world. You couldn't tell me there was someone out there that would want to help me or go on a podcast.
Now I have goosebumps, because I did that exact same thing. I was literally I literally did the same thing. I'll just leave it at that without too much graphic trauma, but literally in the fetal position of just like wanting to die, because I truly believe the same thing, Crystal. And I know that there's people out there that feel the same way. They're too broken, they're too damaged, they're too much of an addict, or whatever they want to call themselves. And it's like, I don't care what you're going through, how hard this is, how many times you freaking failed. You only fail if you give up. Otherwise, you continue to keep going. So wherever you guys are, wherever you're listening, push off from here and freaking keep going. You're gonna get there. I promise you. So.
Well, awesome, Michelle. Well, thank you so much. And of course, everyone, you can find this episode on every social media platform, Apple, Spotify, and of course on soberonions.com. With that, I will say thank you so much for everything, for following, sharing. And this is Crystal from Sober Onions Podcast. Remember, if I can do it, we can do it.